Moving on into the first chapter. Now this chapter, I love the tone. I love the attitude of this book and how it just feels very direct. It feels very, these are the facts. You may have been told lies, but I'm going to tell you how it is. And this is how you get your life together. This is how you return home. I love the attitude of this book. If I could really put into words how this first chapter made me feel, it definitely felt like it was a big FU to all of the historians, the researchers, everyone who was a part of trying to hide this information or destroy it or create it to be something that it's not. It was a big FU, like, forget you, forget what you're saying, this false information that you're spreading, because this is what it is. And I'm going to let the people know. Before I get to what resonated with me, I really want you guys to let me know within chapter 1 what things resonated with you. Comment down below. One of the first things that I highlighted that resonated with me, it says, my ancestors learned how to combine and unite the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. This resonated with me because this is not the first time that I've come across like the elements and combining the elements and using the elements. This is definitely a reoccurring message that keeps coming up for me intuitively, and I am excited to learn more about how her ancestors use the elements to their advantage, and I'm very curious in knowing how I can use the elements to my advantage as well. Moving on to page 12, something else that resonated with me, she says here, Western religions recognize only the male priest and worship only a male god in a heaven of male angels. In the ancient African spiritual tradition, there is a deep respect for the mother creator and the female priestesses, as well as the father creator and the male priest. Now, growing up, I grew up in a religious household. We went to Sunday school, we went to church every Sunday, and yes, the male is the male has dominance over the church for sure. But I do and I can really appreciate that in this spirituality, females are also recognized as a dominant force. I feel like if I was to practice this spirituality, it would definitely empower me and make me feel more powerful, knowing that it's equal, that there is an equal share of dominance and equal share of respect. That's something that I really liked. And comment down below if that's something that stood out to you as well. Briefly touching on the 42 Laws of Maat. Now, I read this entirely, and then I believe she said somewhere in here that this is what she reads in the morning, and she also reads it before she goes to bed. Personally, I'm hoping that during this initiation, I don't want to have to memorize this. I don't have to want to memorize these 42 laws. I guess it's been something that we're going to have to do. Yes, I'm going to do it. But what I do like about the laws is that it places a sense of responsibility for self. Here it says, for I am responsible for what I create. And for me, that translates into you reap what you sow. And I love how the sense of responsibility falls on your internal, not anything that's external. Moving along, I want to share with you guys, it's on page 13. It is the last paragraph. It starts, my people used beauty, art, music, and dance to elevate the spirit, on to page 14 where it ends, of all who would destroy or oppress life. Now, this is something that stood out to me because I do really feel that Black people are super creative. Like, we are just divinely creative. Our ideas that we come up with, the way that we express ourselves creatively, it's beautiful. It's amazing to see. I don't see anyone else doing it like Black people do. So I said, yes, talk your shit. And going back to me growing up in the church, like, music was heavily used in church to call on the spirit of the Lord. Music and dance. Imagine you are at a church service that is supposed to end at 2, but we done went on to 4 o'clock because they are still praising and dancing and singing to the Lord. So that was definitely cool to see that connection there, for sure, that since a lot of Black people are removed from their ancient cultures and spiritualities, that there are still a lot of connections, a lot of similarities that has still been brought on from the past. So I thought that was really interesting. On page 14, right before we get to her partner's portion of this chapter, her talking about how her people created science, math, reflexology, things about beauty. I said, okay, so your people basically taught us everything. She said, it is my people, the earth's elders, who gave the world science, math, the laying on of hands, reflexology, art, music, and dance, a legacy of magnificent beauty. So everything. And then here I highlighted where she said, knowledge of self is in my DNA, in my melanin. I was like, oh, that's kind of deep to me. That really runs deep, because so many of us are far removed from our ancestors and the culture that we once knew because of enslavement, because of foreigners coming in. But that does not matter. That's not going to stop us from reconnecting, because it's in our DNA. It's in our genes. It's there. It's in our melanin. It's always with us all the time. So that stuck out to me a lot. I really like that. Moving on to the brief overview of pre-dynastic Khamit by Haru Ankara Samaj, her partner, Queen Afua's partner. I really enjoyed the history lesson, and I can definitely sense his passion and his commitment to spreading knowledge that is factual as well. On page 16 near the bottom, it says, European Egyptologists have held that Egypt is in the Middle East. That Egypt is part of the entire African continent is evident to all except those most voluntarily blind. Now, I am not sure. I don't really understand, I was going to say that I don't really understand the motive behind trying to make Egypt seem like it's separate from Africa, but they just really don't want to give us credit. And I may be wrong in saying this, but I think he mentions that in his section, that they'd want to try to, for whatever reason, separate the greatness of Egypt from Black people. Like, because the people of Egypt were able to accomplish so much, and they had so much knowledge, and they were intelligent, and they were able to build these pyramids and things that have lasted for years, they don't want to acknowledge that Black people actually did that Black people are capable of doing something like that. Oh, Khamit, what historical lies have been told of you through your present day distorted name, Egypt? I was like, yeah, this is deep, and this is unfortunate for people of this ancestry, for people of this culture to have to endure the lies that is placed on them purposefully, intentionally. But I am thankful that, at least we get the truth. At least us reading the book, we know the truth. Yeah, his entire section was basically like, you've been told and taught lies, and I'm going to use my section here to spit straight facts to you. Let me just lay out all the facts for you so you can see it for yourself. And I'm appreciative of that. Lay out the facts for me. Educate me. Let me know something new. The last thing that really resonated with me in this chapter is this section right here on page 18. Khamitic consciousness perceives itself as surrounded, enveloped, saturated, nurtured, and immersed in divinity, like the fish in the ocean. Spiritual immersion was the mode of existence. That's just a different way of living, a different way of being. It's just not something that I grew up having, that sort of perspective, that basically everything around me is divine. That's just not something that I grew up knowing or learning. So really having an understanding of what that means, I don't think I fully do. And I am super ready to see that unfold more and have a better understanding of this lifestyle as we go through the book. And then the last page here, which is just a word bank of commonly used words and their spirituality. Now, I don't know about you, but I am going to attempt to learn these words. If I am actually going to go through this initiation and go through the gateways, I feel like it's necessary for me to commit to it fully. So I'll be making flashcards, and I'm gonna go over my flashcards and really learn. these terms. Yeah, so overall, like I said before, chapter 1 was definitely like a big FU to all of the false information, to everyone who participated in spreading false information intentionally and unintentionally about Khamitic culture. Let me just spit to you the facts. Let me lay out all this knowledge for you to take in, and I appreciated the history lesson. I really feel like both of the sections combined was really a great introduction to the book for sure. I do believe that we needed that history lesson, and we needed the perspective of her partner and his history for what's to come ahead. I am super excited to keep reading, to keep going, to start getting to, you know, the juicy stuff. If you are interested in discussing anything within these 2 sections that I didn't already bring up, you can definitely mention it down below in the comments. I will reply to you. I'm sure other people will reply to you. I still want this to be a very supported community. I want us all to have conversations and discussions together. I'm very excited to get to section 2 where it talks about womb health. You know, this is the entire reason why I purchased this book in the first place, so I can learn more about my womb and how to heal it. So I'm super excited for next week's video. I'm excited to learn more about the Khamitic way of living. Now we have reached the end of this video. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. I really hope that this book club is bringing some value to your life, because it is honestly bringing a lot of value to my life, being that I have to actually read the book, but then also dissect it in a way to where I can also have things to come and talk to you guys about. So it's super helpful for me. Let me know how this book club is treating you. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on my Instagram at Coco Dumpling and Made by Lady Z, and be sure to follow me on all of my other social media so you can always stay up to date with this pretty little thing right here. And always remember to walk in your purpose, stand in your truth, and keep those vibes high. And I will see you guys in my next video.